I was going to film this morning, and then I was too tired, so I was going to film in the car, and it was too dark, and then I was going to film in the waiting room, but then I didn't actually have to wait that long, which is good. So, hi, I'm in a room. I have, let me switch hands. I have this thing, this IV, in my arm. Whoa. Because they're gonna put anesthesia in it eventually. Or something else that I don't know the name of, but anesthesia, yeah. So basically what is happening today is I'm at Primary Children's, which is like 10 out of 10 hospital. Like, no one wants to be at the hospital. Primary Children's, I've been here for, like, a lot of times. And it's cool, and it's also really pretty. Like, all their rooms, I mean, not really like rooms, their rooms are like 5, but their like lobbies and stuff are really pretty and cool. And just, yeah, so today I'm getting an endoscopy, which is basically they put a camera down your throat and like through your digestive tract and take pictures and stuff, and like take a video of your like insides. So that's what's happening today. And I've never had that done before. I've never had anesthesia. I've never done anything like this. If you can't tell, I'm really tired. It's like 6:30 in the morning. My mom is over here. She's very, very tired. And she wanted me to show you how tired she is, because she got up at like 5 so we could come. So, yeah, that's what's happening. So, like, a ton of people just came in to just kind of like explain, I guess. So basically, I'm gonna get anesthesia, go to sleep, and then the whole thing takes like 5 minutes, he said, so it should be really quick. And they just put a camera in my throat and then down, and they look at my stomach and my small intestine. So I guess that's what's happening, and then I'll wake up. So we're done. I'm really, really tired. The anesthesia hasn't worn all the way off yet, but they were like, okay, you're done, come on, like, let's leave, you're done. And I was like, okay, hold on. So I'm shaking a little bit because it's very, very cold. And yeah, we're driving back. I don't know what happened. I was asleep. Everything was good, apparently. I'm gonna get a hamburger and french fries and hopefully a milkshake and more fries, because I want to have a double at In-N-Out, but then I also want to have a milkshake, but then I want to be able to dip my fries in the milkshake, but I also want to be able to eat them, so I need like 2 fries. When I'm like later, I'll explain. So, right now I'm just gonna be tired. So I decided to make this video because a lot of you guys on my Instagram have been freaking out about me going to the hospital when I did that, and I posted about being at the doctor a lot the past couple months. And people that I know in person have been freaking out about me missing a lot of school, and like I quit my job, and there's just been a lot going on, and people are just losing it. So this video is just kind of explaining what has been going on. A little bit of background knowledge. I'm not going to tell my life story or anything, but I was a really thin kid all growing up, really skinny, really small and scrawny, and it's just how I was. I started having joint pain and bad stomach aches in elementary school, and we kind of just dealt with it, Then when I was 11, I started getting really, 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 really sick about every 2 weeks, like exactly every 2 weekends. On Friday night, I would get sick, and then I would be sick, and then wake up Monday morning, and I'd be okay. And it would happen every 2 weeks. So we went to doctors, we went to ERs, we went to all the places, and they were like, she has the flu. We were like, she has the flu every 2 weeks, and they were like, well, there's different strains of the flu, and we were like, okay, well, getting the flu quite a lot. So, long story short, eventually, when I was 11 years old, we found out that I have celiac disease. If you don't know what that is, it's an autoimmune disease, which means basically if I eat gluten, I'll die. Not like an allergy, I won't go into anaphylactic shock or anything. It's basically like poison to a normal person is what gluten is to me. If I wanted to go out and eat bread or something like gluten, I could eat it, I would get really sick and I wouldn't die. But if I decided to keep eating it my whole life, first of all, I would be sick my whole life and it would be terrible. Second of all, eventually I would die of complications from being sick 24/7, 365. So I have not eaten gluten in 5 years. That is a really long time, wow. The reason that I was at the hospital recently is what I'm going to get to in a second. The other piece of background knowledge that you need to know, this October I started to get sick again, and it wasn't like before. It was basically, if anyone around me was even a little bit sick, I would get that sickness, but like times 10. And it would take 2 weeks for me to recover from a cold, and that cold would keep me literally bedridden. Couldn't get out of bed for 2 weeks because of something like a cold. I ended up having to quit my job after, we're not going to get into this, but after being forced to work multiple nights until close while I had a high fever, and being forced to come to work sick, and it was just a whole mess. So I had to quit my job, which really sucks because I really need a job, and it's hard to get a job in the middle of winter, in the middle of a school year. It's not like a holiday, like at Christmas they hire a lot, and Christmas and Thanksgiving it's just like awkward winter spring time, and like everyone who has a job has a job. No one's hiring for anything. So that really sucked. A lot of people have been freaking out, asking me why I quit my job, and this video, this is why, because of my health. So I kept getting sick, and we went to doctors, we went to Instacare, we went to the ER, we went to specialists at Primary Children's, and everyone was like, you seem fine. I was like, well, I'm not fine. They did tests and all the stuff and exams, and they were looking at everything, and they would just be like, oh yeah, no, everything seems totally normal and fine. And I was like, okay, well, something is not fine. And they would just say, I don't know, maybe you just have a really low pain tolerance. And I was like, oh my gosh, I have been going to the ER, like. So thanks to all those doctors, you really didn't help at all. So it got to the point where I was going to the doctors, whether that be a specialist or my pediatrician or the ER or Instacare or just some sort of doctor, about once every week or week and a half. In December, I went to the doctors 5 times, so about once a week, a little bit more. And eventually there was a really nice lady, and I don't remember her name, but she was really cool, and she had a cool Indian accent, and she was nice. And she did all the tests and did all the stuff and said, well, everything looks normal. And I was like, please, not again. And she goes, but you're obviously still getting sick, so we're gonna look more into it. We found out that I have hyperthyroidism and Hashimoto disease. So basically, what that is your thyroid is in your throat, it's in your neck, and it regulates your hormones. So when people think of hormones, they think of like puberty and like health class and all that. And yes, those are hormones. But hormones are basically everything. Everything your body does is controlled by hormones. So, like when it's time to go to sleep, like what makes you tired, or if you've been like, if you just like ran a bunch of miles and you get home and you want to take a nap because you're tired, right? Because you just ran. That's because your thyroid is like, wow, you just ran a lot. You should probably get some sleep. Here, have melatonin, body, and your body gets melatonin and goes, oh, well, you're tired now, and then that's how everything works. So basically it does that with like everything that your body does. Every body function is your thyroid telling your body with a hormone, hey, you should do this, and then your body goes, oh, you're right, I should do that, and then that's how your body works. So when your thyroid doesn't work, it's great, it's awesome. Your body just, it does not work. So with thyroid disease, there's hypothyroidism and hyperthyroidism. So hypo is usually you are overweight and you have trouble losing weight and you gain weight really easily until you get it under control with medication, and they have medication that evens it out and basically makes it so you can live like a normal person and your hormones work correctly. Hyperthyroidism is the opposite, where you're usually really underweight and it's hard for you to gain weight and you lose weight really easily, which is why I'm a twig. And so that is kind of the same thing, gives you the same issues, your hormones aren't working correctly, and you can take medication for that to even things out and get you normal. The other thing that some people do is they will get their thyroid radiated, kind of like if you have cancer, and it will just kill your thyroid, and then you take medication that acts like a thyroid. So that's another option, or some people get it removed. Between hypo and hyper, it's kind of weird because hypothyroidism is called Hashimoto's disease, and hyperthyroidism is called Graves' disease. And if you haven't guessed, Graves' disease is a bit worse. But even though I told you I had hyperthyroidism, I do not have Graves' disease, which is good. The not good thing is that I have Hashimoto's hyperthyroidism. So basically, you take this disease and add this thyroid thing to it and smash that together to create a weird hybrid disease. And the thing about it is, if they treat me for Graves' disease, it won't do anything because I do have hyperthyroidism, but I don't have Graves' disease, so that'll just be useless. If you have hypo, they're trying to lower your thyroid. So if I already have low thyroid, but I have Hashimoto's and they give me Hashimoto's medicine, it'll lower it more, and then I'll have Graves' disease, which, like I said, is worse. So I'm in this weird limbo area where basically they can't give me any medicine because it'll just either do nothing, but like kind of hurt my immune system, or it'll do nothing except for throw me into Graves' disease, which is usually when you need radiation or you need surgery, and it's a whole mess. So that's that. I really am okay. I've been controlling it a lot better. Just, it's like so cheesy, but at this point, when you can't take medicine and when the doctors have just said, we can't help you, diet and exercise. Like, I'm just trying to live a healthy lifestyle. So the big question majority of people have is why I was at the hospital. So the reason I was at the hospital was to get what's called an endoscopy, which is where they put you to sleep with some anesthesia, which, first of all, about the anesthesia, they give it to you in an IV. And I've had IVs here, 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 and here, but never in my arm. So they put it in my arm, and I don't know if you can see this because the lighting's really weird, but I have a giant bruise on my arm. And they said that's normal. Lots of doctors and people we know and everyone has been like, oh yeah, that's normal. But it's been like a week, and it's just kind of not my favorite thing. It doesn't hurt, but like, it looks like I keep karate chopping myself in the arm, so if you're wondering why there's a bruise on my arm, I'm not karate chopping myself, it's from taking anesthesia. They put a camera down your throat and down into your stomach and through your small intestine, and they go through basically with a video camera, and they take a bunch of pictures and videos to look through your digestive tract and see what's going on. And the reason for that is because obviously the celiac, eating a bunch of basically poison for 11 years before we found out, that affected my stomach, as you can imagine. And with the thyroid just messing everything up, they wanted to look in there. So they took a bunch of biopsies, which is where they get a little snip-snippy thingy, and they go snip-snippy, and then they take some little pieces of your insides, and they test them for stuff. So they took all the pictures, they took all the snip-snippies, and it turns out I have a 100% totally healthy digestive tract, which is really good. I do have some trouble eating. My stomach is about the size of my fist, so it's very, very, very small, which is why I am so skinny. Another reason, I'm so skinny for so many reasons, which I'm not complaining about. It's just kind of absurd. And so my stomach's about this big, and if you think about a normal meal that you're eating, it is more food than this. It's more. So eating is very hard for me because it goes into my stomach, and a normal person's stomach does stretch. You know, your stomach is more full, you get more like bloated or whatever when you eat because your stomach is stretching and it's made to stretch. My stomach does not like to stretch, and if I'm eating a normal plate of food this big, and I have a stomach that's this big, it has to stretch to like 3 times its normal size. So I do now have some medicine that kind of helps with that, and basically it's like a painkiller just for my stomach. So it's like my stomach can stretch without hurting. I don't know. So that's another reason they went down there and took pictures to make sure that that's what was going on. There was nothing else like in my stomach or like happening. So it turns out I'm completely healthy in that sense. I can't be treated for my thyroid thing, and that's where I'm at. But yeah, that is all I had to say about that, trying to answer all of your guys' questions from Instagram and from DMs and comments and from in person and all of the stuff. I am okay, I'm doing great. I have been healthier than I've been in quite a while actually, so it's really good. That is why I quit my job, that is why I have been doing online school, that's why I was at the hospital. Hopefully I answered all of your questions. If you have more questions about what is going on just in my life or in regards to all of this or just what's happening, because things have been crazy,
definitely comment them. I'll reply to your comments, or I'll message you if you want me to do that. I'll answer all your questions. If I didn't explain something well enough or you are confused about any of the big words that I used, please ask and I will try to explain it better in the comments. If you watched until now, thank you so much for caring enough to watch through this pretty boring video. It means a lot to me. If you want to like it, that would be cool. It's not, you know, the kind of video I feel like I should be like and subscribe, but I mean, hey, you can like and subscribe if you want. It'd be cool. And if you aren't subscribed, you should totally hit that subscribe button. You should hit the subscribe button because I'm just a sick kid and I just need support. I'm just kidding. I'm actually fine. The whole point of this video is to say that I'm fine. Remember to accept the things that you cannot change and change the things that you cannot accept. I love you, I love you, I love you. Peace out.